During my first year of college, I lived in Whitmore Hall, the oldest dorm building on campus. From the outside, it looked timeless. Red brick, polished by decades of rain. Ivy crawling up the walls like veins. Tall windows glowing warm in the evening light. It looked safe. It looked permanent. But buildings that old don't just hold memories, they hold things. Up close, Whitmore felt different. The floors creaked even when no one walked on them, slow, stretching groans like the wood was adjusting under invisible weight. The radiators hissed constantly, even when the heat was off, like someone whispering through clenched teeth inside the walls. And the fifth floor always felt colder. Not the kind of cold you fix with a sweater, the kind that settles into your bones, the kind that makes you feel watched. That's where I lived, and that's where Hallway 13 was supposed to be. No one ever explained it directly. It wasn't written anywhere. It wasn't mentioned on the campus tour. But if you lived there long enough, someone would eventually lean close and say it quietly, like they were afraid the walls might hear. Don't go near the end of the fifth floor. If you asked why, they'd shake their head. Just don't. And they would always change the subject. Midterms hit in October. Sleep disappeared. Coffee became water. Everyone looked slightly unhinged. That night, I was alone. My roommate had gone home for the weekend. The dorm felt hollow without him. No music through the walls, no laughter from the common area, no doors slamming down the corridor. Just silence. Not peaceful silence. Empty silence. The kind that feels like it's listening. I was hunched over my desk, highlighter in hand, when my digital clock flipped from 1:12 a.m. to 1:13 a.m. The second it changed, I heard it. Footsteps, right outside my door. Slow, measured. Not the casual shuffle of someone heading to the bathroom. These were controlled steps, intentional. Step, pause. Step, pause. Each one perfectly spaced, like whoever was walking wanted to be heard. They stopped directly outside my door. I froze. The air in my room felt thinner. I could hear my own heartbeat, heavy, uneven. No knock, no voice, just presence. Then silence. The kind of silence that feels like someone standing inches away, waiting for you to react. I don't know why I opened the door. Maybe curiosity, maybe pride, maybe something else. But I did. The hallway was empty. The overhead lights flickered weakly, casting long, trembling shadows across the faded carpet. The air felt colder than before, sharp against my lungs. Everything looked normal at first, until I looked down the corridor. Where the wall should have ended, there was more hallway. Not dramatically, not impossibly, just extended, as if the building had quietly stretched itself. The corridor went on farther than it ever had before. The lights became dimmer the farther it went, fading into a dull yellow haze. And at the very end, barely illuminated by a dying bulb, a small metal plaque bolted to the wall. Black numbers. Simple. Unmistakable. 13. My stomach dropped. There had never been a hallway 13. Ever. I should have gone back inside, locked the door, pretended I saw nothing. Instead, I stepped forward. Each step felt heavier than the last. The carpet seemed softer, like it was sinking under my weight. The air thickened. My ears began to ring softly, a high-pitched hum building pressure in my skull. Halfway down, I heard it. my name, whispered, not echoed, not carried by air. It sounded like someone standing right behind my shoulder, breathing against my neck. I spun around. The hallway behind me was empty. My door looked farther away than it should have been. When I turned back, a door at the end of hallway 13 slowly creaked open. Not violently, not dramatically, just quietly, like it had been waiting for me, inviting me. I don't remember deciding to walk inside, but I did. The hallway beyond the doorway was not a dorm room. It was a classroom. Old wooden desks arranged in neat rows. Thick layers of dust coated every surface. Cobwebs stretched between chair legs like delicate traps. The air smelled stale, forgotten, like no one had breathed in that room in decades. The fluorescent lights above buzzed faintly, flickering inconsistently, though the fixtures looked rusted and dead. At the front of the room stood a large chalkboard, and written across it in uneven, jagged letters, "They're waiting." The chalk lines were fresh, bright against the dark board. I stepped backward. A chair creaked softly, not because I touched it, because something shifted in it. The sound came from the back row. A chair scraped softly across the floor, then another, then another. One by one, the desks began to move. Not sliding wildly, not thrown violently, just turning. Slowly, all of them, until every single desk faced me, as if I had just walked into a class already in session. The fluorescent lights flickered violently overhead. The buzzing grew louder, and from somewhere inside the darkness, calm, controlled, certain, a voice spoke. Not angry, not loud, just welcoming. Welcome back.
Welcome back. The voice wasn't loud. It didn't echo. It didn't need to. It felt like it came from inside my skull. I had never been there before. At least, that's what I told myself. But the moment those words settled into the air, something inside me shifted. Not fear, recognition. A sharp pain split through my head. Not a headache, something deeper, like pressure forcing its way outward. My vision blurred, the buzzing lights stretched into white streaks, and suddenly, I wasn't standing anymore. I was sitting in one of the desks, my hands resting flat on the wooden surface. There was no dust. The desk was clean, used, occupied. My breathing slowed against my will. I tried to move, but my body felt rehearsed, positioned exactly where it was meant to be. The classroom wasn't abandoned anymore. It was full. Every desk was occupied. Students sat upright, perfectly still, hands folded, heads tilted downward, waiting. The air was warm now, heavy with the smell of chalk and old paper. At the front of the room stood a tall figure. Its back faced us as it wrote on the chalkboard. The chalk screeched loudly, over and over, the same sentence. "You never left. You never left. You never left." Each repetition pressed harder into my skull. The figure stopped writing. The chalk snapped in its fingers. Slowly, unnaturally slowly, it turned around. Its face wasn't missing. It wasn't shadowed. It was smooth, blank, featureless, but somehow smiling, not with lips, with presence. And then, every student in the room lifted their heads at the exact same time. Perfect synchronization, no hesitation, no delay. I looked around, and my stomach collapsed into ice. Every face was identical, every single one. They all looked like me. Same eyes, same mouth, same expression, but their eyes were wrong, empty, like something had erased the person behind them. The faceless teacher tilted its head, and in a voice that sounded layered, like 13 voices speaking at once, "You came back." The copies of me opened their mouths and whispered in unison. "We stayed." I screamed. The lights above burst in a violent pop, plunging the room into absolute darkness. The sound of chairs scraping erupted all around me. Not moving away, moving closer. Hands brushed my shoulders, cold, too many hands. Something leaned close to my ear and breathed in slowly, like it was memorizing my scent. Then, silence. I slammed against something hard. Carpet, cold air, the fifth-floor hallway. The extended corridor was gone. The wall stood solid and blank. No plaque, no door, no classroom. Just the ordinary cracked paint and flickering lights of Whitmore Hall. My phone lay beside me. The screen glowed. 3:47 a.m. Nearly 3 hours gone. 3 hours I didn't remember losing. My hands were trembling and dusted and white. Chuck. I didn't sleep. Not that night, not the next one either. The following morning, I went straight to the campus administration office. I tried to sound calm, asked for old blueprints of Whitmore Hall. The woman at the desk hesitated, but pulled up the digital floor plan. 5th floor, 12 hallways, no 13, no classroom, no extended corridor. I swallowed. "Has the building ever been renovated?" She paused. Her fingers stopped moving. "There was a fire," she said quietly. "When?" 1973. "Where?" She didn't look at me when she answered. "The 5th floor. A late-night study session." My voice barely worked. "How many?" She hesitated. Then, 13. The room felt smaller, airless. "Was the room sealed off?" She nodded once. The hallway was removed from the plans. It was easier that way. Easier, like deleting a file, like pretending it never existed. The pacing. I moved out 2 weeks later, transferred dorms, different building, different floor, different number. I told myself it was stress, sleep deprivation, imagination, but some things don't stay where you leave them. Exactly at 1:13 a.m., no matter where I am, I hear footsteps, not approaching, not leaving, just pacing, back and forth, slow, measured, like someone reviewing attendance. Sometimes I wake up already sitting upright at my desk, pen in hand, a blank notebook open in front of me, and written across the top of the page, in chalk, not ink, "You never left." Last week I was studying late again. I glanced down at my hands. There was chalk dust beneath my fingernails, thick, fresh, and for just a second, I couldn't remember transferring dorms. I couldn't remember leaving Whitmore Hall. I couldn't remember walking out of that classroom. Because maybe I'm still there, still sitting in that desk, still one of 13. And maybe this right now is just the part where they let me think I escaped. And somewhere at the end of a hallway that isn't on any floor plan, a faceless teacher is taking attendance, waiting for me to answer.
When I moved to Maple Hollow, Ohio, everyone welcomed me, not in a casual way, not in a polite, neighborly way, in a rehearsed way. Smiles too wide, handshakes held a second too long, eye contact that didn't break when it should have. At the time, I told myself I was overthinking. That should have been my first warning. The lawns aren't just trimmed, they're identical. Every mailbox is the same shade of matte black. Every driveway is spotless. American flags hang from every porch, perfectly angled, like they were measured. No trash cans left out, no barking dogs, no music from open windows, no noise. It's the kind of neighborhood that feels edited, polished, corrected. There's no graffiti, no broken fences, no arguments spilling into the street, no crime. At least, that's what they say. 3 days after I moved in, there was a knock on my door. 3 slow, evenly spaced taps. I opened it to find a man standing perfectly centered on my porch. Mid-40s, crisp polo shirt, clean haircut, teeth too straight. "Hi," he said, smiling like he'd practiced it. "I'm Greg." He didn't blink much. "Welcome to the neighborhood. We take safety very seriously here." There was something deliberate about the way he said very. He handed me a thin, stapled packet, white paper, black ink, no logo, just a bold title, Neighborhood Watch Rules. I almost laughed, thought it was some overenthusiastic HOA thing. I flipped through it while he stood there, watching me read. Rule number 1, porch lights must remain on after 10 p.m. Rule number 2, curtains must remain open during daylight hours. Rule number 3, report unusual behavior immediately. That word again, unusual. I looked up at him. What counts as unusual behavior? Greg's smile didn't fade, but it changed. It tightened slightly. "You'll know," he said softly, and for a moment I felt like I had already done something wrong. That night, I couldn't sleep. New house, new sounds, wood settling, refrigerator humming. At 9:59 p.m., I happened to glance at the clock. 10 p.m., and then, click. Not from inside my house, from outside, a soft, synchronized snapping sound. I walked to the window. Every porch light on the entire street turned on at the exact same second. Not gradually, not one by one, all at once, like a circuit completing. My skin prickled. That's when I saw movement. Across the street, doors opening, one after another. Not random, not chaotic, coordinated. Neighbors stepping onto their porches in perfect timing, old couples, young parents, a teenage boy, a woman holding a mug, all standing in place, facing the street, facing forward. No one speaking, no one waving, no one checking their phones, just standing there, watching. I told myself maybe this was some kind of community tradition, maybe it was symbolic, patriotic, small town pride or something. But then I noticed something that made my stomach drop. None of them were looking at the street. They were looking at houses, scanning windows, observing, slowly, systematically. And my porch light was still off. I stepped back from the window. My reflection stared back at me in the dark glass. Behind my reflection, the street glowing. Still, silent, watching. Then slowly, almost mechanically, Greg stepped out onto his porch. He didn't look left or right. He looked directly at my house, directly at my dark porch. And even from across the street, I could see him smile. Not wide, not friendly, just enough to show he noticed. And at that moment, I realized something cold and heavy. This wasn't a neighborhood tradition. It was attendance, and I was absent. The next morning, there was a note taped to my door. Plain white paper, no envelope. 2 words. We noticed. No signature, no handwriting variation. The letters looked printed, perfectly aligned, almost mechanical. I checked my doorbell camera. No footage, not deleted, just blank. I decided to test something. The following night at 9:58 p.m., I turned off every light in the house. Living room, kitchen, hallway, porch. Darkness swallowed everything. 9:59 p.m., I stood by the bedroom window, barely breathing. 10 p.m. Click! The entire street lit up. Every porch, every driveway, every window glowing, except mine. 10:01 p.m. My phone buzzed. Unknown number, no caller ID. I let it ring. It stopped. Buzzed again. Stopped. Buzzed again. This time, it didn't stop. The vibration continued, unbroken, like someone was holding their finger down on the call button. Then, footsteps outside. Not rushed, not angry. Slow, gravel crunching, measured. 1, 2, 3. Stopping directly beneath my bedroom window. I couldn't see them, but I knew they were looking up. My phone went silent, and then I heard it. A whisper. Not one voice, dozens, layered together. Men, women, young, old, speaking in perfect synchronization. You're not participating. The whisper wasn't loud. It was intimate, like breath against glass. The next day, Greg returned. Same polo shirt, same haircut, same rehearsed smile. "You forgot your light," he said gently, like I had forgotten to water a plant. I told him I didn't feel comfortable being monitored. He tilted his head slightly. "Monitored," he repeated softly. There was something unsettling about the way he echoed words. "No one is monitoring you." He stepped closer to my doorway, close enough that I could see his eyes weren't focused on me. They were scanning behind me, into my house. "We're protecting you." Protecting me from what? He didn't wait for me to respond. He already knew. That night, I complied. Lights on, every single one. But I closed my curtains. At 10 p.m., I heard it again. Doors opening in unison, shoes stepping onto wood, fabric shifting, silence stretching across the street like a held breath. Then, 3 soft taps. Not at my front door, at my back door. Slow, evenly spaced. I didn't move. My phone buzzed. Text message. Unknown number. Curtains must remain open during daylight hours. I stared at it. It was 10:03 p.m. Daylight hours. I grabbed the packet. Rule number 2. It didn't specify which daylight. The following afternoon, I noticed something worse. Across the street, one house had a for sale sign. Empty driveway, no car, no movement. Yet the curtains were open, the lights were on. A television flickered blue light against an empty wall. No furniture, no people. But at exactly 10 p.m. that night, its porch light clicked on too, and someone stood in the doorway. A silhouette, perfectly still, watching. That house was supposed to be vacant. I called the police. The dispatcher went quiet when I gave the address. "Maple Hollow?" I said. "Yes." Silence. Typing sounds. Then, "Sir, that subdivision was dissolved in 2012. My throat tightened. "I'm standing in it." Another pause. "There is no registered neighborhood under that name in this county." The line went dead. Not disconnected, dead, static. Then nothing. That night, I didn't sleep. 9:59 p.m. The street was unnaturally still. No wind, no insects. Even the air felt paused. 10 p.m. Every porch light ignited, simultaneously. I walked to the window, slowly, pulled the curtain aside just an inch. Every neighbor stood outside. But this time, they weren't scattered. They were aligned, perfect rows, facing my house. Not blinking, not shifting, not breathing. Greg stood in the center of the street.
And for the first time, he wasn't smiling. He was expectant, waiting. And then I understood. They weren't watching me. They were waiting for something inside my house. Behind me, the hallway light flickered. Once, twice. I turned. The hallway looked longer, not dramatically, just slightly. The walls felt stretched, the ceiling higher, the air heavier. At the end of it, a silhouette, my silhouette, standing perfectly still, watching me. But I hadn't moved. I looked down at my hands. They were shaking. The silhouette's hands were steady. It took one step forward. I didn't. Outside, every neighbor smiled in unison. My phone buzzed. New message. You left the lights on. Every light in my house went out. Total darkness. The only illumination now, the synchronized porch lights outside, shining through the windows, framing me like a stage. I looked at the glass, at my reflection, but it wasn't copying me anymore. It was calm, composed, smiling. It slowly raised its hand, not to wave, to press its palm against the glass from the inside. Then I felt it, something warm brushing past me, stepping forward into my place. And outside, the entire neighborhood exhaled, satisfied. And somewhere behind me, in my own voice, a whisper, "Thank you for participating."
Children riding bikes in lazy circles, a golden retriever pulling at its leash, a mail truck humming softly past trimmed hedges. Greg waved from across the road. Big smile, casual. "See?" he called out. "Nothing to worry about." His eyes lingered a second too long, not at me, at the house, as if confirming something. I packed that afternoon. Didn't tell anyone, didn't argue, didn't confront. I just folded my clothes, boxed my plates, unplugged the lamps. Every time I passed a window, I felt watched, not aggressively, not threateningly, patiently, as if they knew something I didn't. When I backed my car out of the driveway, every curtain on the street was open, every window dark, but I could feel them behind the glass, watching me leave. Not one person stepped outside to say goodbye. No one followed, no cars in my rearview mirror, no unknown numbers calling. By the time I crossed state lines, my shoulders finally relaxed. It was over. It had to be. 3 days later, a package arrived at my new apartment. No return address, no postage marks, just my name, typed, perfectly aligned. Inside, a printed packet, clean, new, untouched. Neighborhood watch rules. Different town name, different state, same font, same layout, same rules. Rule number 1, porch lights must remain on after 10 p.m. Rule number 2, cartons must remain open during daylight hours. Rule number 3, report unusual behavior immediately. My hands felt cold flipping to the last page. At the bottom, not printed, handwritten, in ink that hadn't fully dried. You're already participating. I checked my lease agreement, normal. I checked the address online, normal. I checked the town registry, normal. I told myself it was a prank, a coincidence, a leftover fear clinging to me. That night, I left my lights off, out of defiance, out of exhaustion, out of spite. 9:59 p.m. My apartment was silent. I stood in the dark. 10 p.m. Click. My porch light turned on by itself. I hadn't touched the switch. I hadn't installed automatic timers. Click. Across the street, another light, then another, then another, one by one. Perfect synchronization. My breath caught in my throat. Doors opened. People stepped outside. Different faces, different bodies, different town, but the same posture, the same stillness, the same expectation, facing my building, facing me, smiling. Not wide, not exaggerated, just enough, like they knew something I didn't. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. A text message. You made it. Another message. Welcome back. I slowly walked to the window, pulled the curtain aside. Every single neighbor was outside, in perfect rows, facing my apartment, not blinking, not speaking. And in the center of the street, a man, mid-40s, clean haircut, polite smile, different face, same presence. He raised his hand, not waving, signaling. Behind me, the hallway light in my apartment flickered, once, twice. I didn't turn around. I already knew what I would see. Something standing there, my height, my build, my outline, waiting for me to step aside. Outside, in unison, the neighbors lifted their hands, slowly, mechanically, like mannequins animated by the same invisible string. And then I understood. Maple Hollow wasn't a place, it was a process. You don't move into it, it moves with you. My phone buzzed one last time. Step outside. The porch light above my door burned brighter. The neighbors didn't blink, didn't shift, didn't breathe. They were waiting. Not for me to run, not for me to call the police, not for me to hide. They were waiting for me to choose. Because once you stand outside, you don't leave. You just wait for the next house to fill. If you ever move into a neighborhood where everyone feels just a little too welcoming, check the lights. If they all turn on at the same time, don't close your curtains. Don't turn them off. Don't try to escape. Because by the time you notice the pattern, you're already part of it. And somewhere tonight, in some quiet American suburb, at exactly 10 p.m., a porch light will turn on. Someone will step outside and smile. And if you look closely, you might recognize their face. It could be mine or yours, waiting.